Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mr. President, honorable heads of states and heads of governments, Mr. Director General, International Labour Organization, distinguished participants, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good afternoon to you all. I offer my sincere thanks to Director General ILO for inviting me to this summit. We need to develop a new social contract for our world to address the multidimensional challenges of the present century. The main objective of this social contract would be to ensure social justice for all for the purpose of sustainable development. The 1971 Declaration of Independence, enshrined in the Bangladesh Constitution, upheld equality, human dignity, and social justice as the overarching goals. In the same spirit, our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, identified Bengali nationalism, democracy, socialism, and secularism as the fundamental principles of a state policy for guiding the way towards building the golden Bengal of his dreams. Under Bangabandhu's leadership, within a few months of our independence, Bangladesh became an ILO member in June 1972 and ratified several ILO conventions in a single day. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib strongly believed that lasting peace would not be achieved without having justice across society. During his 3.5 years in office, while rebuilding a war-ravaged Bangladesh, he underscored the importance of preserving the dignity and changing the lot of our peasants, laborers, and hard-working people. Following Bangabandhu's ideals, we continue to work for the development of our suffering, toiling masses. One of our foremost priorities is to create massive employment in farming and non-agriculture sectors while protecting the rights of workers and ensuring decent work conditions in all spheres of our economy. My government has thus gained popular acceptance as agriculture, labor, and business-friendly. Mr. President, Bangladesh today is resolutely moving towards building a just, inclusive, and resilient society with the ability to deal with various natural and man-made disasters of the past. During COVID-19 pandemic, our government allocated $588 million for regular salary payments to workers in export-oriented industries, around $300 million for distributing food free of cost to underprivileged families, and $156 million approximately for distribution among 5 million poor families. We are supplying essential food items at subsidized price for 10 million low-income families to manage the inflationary pressures in the wake of the Ukraine war. We have further enhanced social safety net coverage for indigent freedom fighters, elderly persons, widows, and abandoned women, persons with disabilities, and other marginalized groups of people. A total of 27 million people is receiving direct cash transfer under 119 social protection schemes. .7% of the budget recently announced for 2023-24 fiscal year has been earmarked for social security in general. Under my social housing program, Ashrayon, we have arranged for safe and sustainable housing for 5 million people of 550,000 homeless and landless peoples, so far without any cost of them. We are providing 30 essential medicines and insulin free of cost alongside maternal and child health care through 18,000 community clinics and rural health care centers. We emphasize education. We continue to offer stipends at primary and secondary level, provide free education for girls up to higher secondary level, and distribute free textbooks at primary and secondary levels. From next month, we have taken initiatives to provide nutritious food among all school children. For the first time this year, we have taken steps to introduce a universal pension scheme on a pilot basis. We attained all MDG targets. We are taking multi-pronged initiatives to achieve SDG targets. We shall conclusively graduate from the UN LDC status by 2026. Accordingly, we are implementing a roadmap on labor sector for the 2021-26 period. Distinguished audience, Bangladesh is a signatory to 8 of the 10 fundamental ILO conventions on labor rights protection. We are actively considering ratification of the 2 new fundamental ILO conventions concerning occupational health and safety. It's a matter of great regret that certain developed countries that are otherwise vocal about labor rights have not themselves ratified most of the fundamental ILO conventions. For instance, a major industrialized country has signed only 2 fundamental conventions. Bangladesh has recently signed ILO Convention 138 on determining the minimum age for child labor. We have declared 8 hazardous sectors to be free of child labor. Besides, in 2023-24 fiscal year, a program is underway to rehabilitate 100,000 children engaged in hazardous work by providing them non-formal and technical education. I want the country to be free from the scourge of child labor for the sake of a healthy and secure future generation. We have followed ILO's recommendations to amend the Bangladesh Labor Act 2006 twice in 2013 and 2018. Moreover, amendments have been made to the Bangladesh Labor Rules 2015. We are working on further amendments to the Labor Act 2006 by this year. We have already given approval for applying Bangladesh Labor Act 2006 in the special economic zones. Alongside the Labor Appellate Tribunal and 7 labor courts, 6 additional labor courts have been set up by our present government. In addition, alternative dispute resolution (ADR) mechanisms are being institutionalized with participation of social partners. Besides, an industrial police unit has been formed for promoting sound industrial relations. Mr. President, the safety and working environment of all ready-made garment factories in the country have been assessed, and the export-oriented ones have been remedied accordingly. More than half of the world's top 100 environment-friendly garment factories are now located in Bangladesh. To take forward this achievement, we have formulated a Green Factory Award policy. I hope our international buyers would encourage such eco-friendly initiatives by paying fair prices for the products. We are setting up a national research and training institute on occupational health and safety. Specialized doctors are providing regular medical service to workers through 32 labor welfare centers. We have increased the number of labor inspectors to 711 to ensure safety and enabling environment at workplaces. A web-based labor inspection management application, LIMA, has been launched with ILO's technical assistance. A tripartite consultative council, TCC, comprising representatives of workers, employers, and the government, continues to monitor and advance the overall labor situation in the country. A separate TCC has been constituted for the apparel industry. It was our government that increased the minimum wage for garment workers from 1,600 to Taka 8,000. I have taken steps to increase the wage of the workers every time I have come to power. We have plans to formulate a policy framework to determine minimum wages through collective bargaining in different industrial sectors. Trade union registration has been made online. The rate of trade union registration has increased from 60% in 2013 to 90% in 2022. The number of trade unions in the garment sector has increased ninefold in the last 9 years. Workers and employers are being regularly trained on the trade union registration process. 2 separate toll-free helplines have been launched for export processing zones, EPZ, and non-EPZ areas. Besides, databases are being developed with particulars of garment factory workers to ensure transparency and discipline in administering their remuneration and other benefits. A provision has been included in the Labor Act for 4 months paid leave and maternity benefits for female workers. Accommodation facilities have been made available for 1530 working women at affordable price in Narayanganj and Chittagong industrial areas. Besides, 6,430 daycare centers have been set up in different factories and establishments. We have called for zero tolerance to all forms of violence or harassment against women in industries and workplaces. Recently, I have given directives to explore ways to factor in women's unpaid domestic work in our national GDP. Under the aegis of Bangladesh Labour Welfare Foundation, our workers and their family members receive financial assistance in various sectors. In addition, a central fund has been established under the Ministry of Labour and Employment for supporting the socio-economic development of workers in export-oriented industries along with their families. In 2022, an employment injury insurance scheme has been launched on a pilot basis for workers in the garment sector. Mr. President, 2 million young men and women are entering our employment market anew every year. We are setting up 100 special economic zones across the country for creating 10 million new employments by 2030. In parallel, initiatives have been taken to establish 39 high-tech parks for investment and employment in the information and communication technology sector. This will create job opportunities for 50,000 youth by 2025 and 200,000 by 2030. We have made a commitment to build a smart Bangladesh in line with our Vision 2041, and we are working to that end. For that, a special allocation of $9.2 million has been made in the next fiscal year's budget for research and development. 80,000 young men and women will be trained in advanced technologies through research and innovation centers under various universities. 650,000 IT freelancers in the country have registered to bring them into the folds of mainstream economy. We are providing soft loans, refinancing scheme, and free training for the cottage, micro, small, and medium industries. These industries have so far been provided working capital to the tune of around $6 billion under the government's stimulus package to mitigate the adverse impacts of COVID-19. In the current fiscal year, Bangladesh Bank has launched a refinancing scheme worth about $2.3 billion for the CMSME sector. Till date, more than 50,000 entrepreneurs have been given training through the SME Foundation. We have set a target to increase enrollment rate in technical education from the current 17% to 30% by 2030. We are setting up specialized institutes for ocean research, aeronautics, biotechnology, nanotechnology, and frontier technology to prepare our youth for the fourth industrial revolution. We have established the Expatriates Welfare Bank to help reduce overall migration costs and provide easy loans to migrant workers. Bangladesh continues to play a leading role ensuring safe, orderly, and regular migration. We urge the international community to pay heed to climate change impacts on human mobility and overall work environment. Mr. President, this summit, with the launch of the Global Coalition, has created an opportunity to place social justice at the heart of all international development agenda, including SDGs. Our government will actively consider joining the Global Coalition through further discussions with our social partners at the national level. In this context, I would like to make 5 suggestions from our viewpoint. 1. It would be advisable to develop this coalition as a consultative or advocacy platform rather than as a norm-setting or negotiating forum. 2. The The coalition must guard against weaponizing social justice by one international quarter against the other in the current geopolitical context. Three, the coalition should make sure that instead of being used as a protectionist tool, social justice should be widely promoted under a rules-based multilateral trading system. 4. The coalition needs to ensure broad-based support from ILO's own constituents with a view to enlisting the international financial institutions for the purpose of promoting decent work and productive employment. 5. The coalition should give attention to making our youth champions of social justice. Mr. President, we can achieve lasting peace and sustainable development on the foundation of social justice. We must invest in social justice in our efforts to build peaceful, just, and inclusive societies worldwide. In this connection, I want to cite from the only statement given by our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who is my father also, at the United Nations General Assembly in September 1974. And I quote, "Peace is an imperative for the survival of mankind. It represents the deepest aspirations of men and women throughout the world. Peace to endure must, however, be peace based on justice," unquote. Mr. President, my father was the president of Bangladesh. He was assassinated brutally in 1975. At the same time, my mother and my 3 brothers, younger brothers, my youngest brother was 10 years old, wives of 2 brothers. In total, 18 members of my family were brutally assassinated. Myself and my sister, my younger sister, we were abroad. That's why we could survive. We had been in abroad as refugees for 6 years. The military dictators used to our country. When I came back and got the opportunity to form the government, I started working to change the lot of my country people. My only aim to change their lot and make Bangladesh a peaceful and developed country, a Sonar Bangla. I have dedicated my life for the toiling masses of Bangladesh. I thank you all. Khoda Hafiz, Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu, may Bangladesh live forever.